The Curse of Sleepy Hollow. Sleepy Hollow was never just a legend. Behind the fog and folklore, behind the tales of a headless horseman galloping through shadowy woods, lies a truth that was buried along with the bodies. Generations whispered warnings, told around flickering fires. Stay on the path. Never cross the bridge after dusk. Never speak her name. But time fades fear, and fear, when forgotten, becomes invitation. When 5 strangers arrive to document the mystery of Sleepy Hollow, they think they're chasing ghosts, but the truth is much darker, much older, and it doesn't want to be found. Part 1. The Bridge. We're losing light, Mara said, her camera already rolling as the golden hour painted Sleepy Hollow in hues of fire and shadow. Liam adjusted his mic. Let's just get B-roll of the bridge. It's the perfect start. 5 of them. Mara the filmmaker, Liam the skeptic, Jamie the historian, Sasha the medium, and Owen her boyfriend, the drone guy. They'd come to document the real Sleepy Hollow for their streaming channel Urban Unearthed. But Sleepy Hollow didn't care about their followers. The covered bridge loomed ahead, wrapped in mist like a secret. Wood creaked beneath their feet as they stepped onto it, cameras rolling. Jamie ran his fingers along the wood. This is where Brom Bones said he last saw Ichabod Crane. He vanished right after. A loud crack echoed beneath the bridge. They froze. Sasha looked around, pale. Something just passed under us. Probably a raccoon, Liam scoffed. But the air was suddenly too still. A sharp wind swept through, flinging Mara's hat into the river. Owen's drone lifted into the sky, its camera feeding live footage to his phone. But as it panned across the forest line, Sasha gasped. Wait, what is that? Everyone crowded around Owen's screen. In the trees behind them, a figure stood watching, tall, cloaked, unmoving. It's a hunter? Jamie said weakly. The drone spun. The figure was gone. That was not a hunter, Sasha whispered. That was a watcher. Mara stepped back onto the bridge. Okay, let's regroup. We'll camp just inside the forest. Get night footage, maybe some EVP recordings. She froze. A bloody handprint was smeared across the wooden rail. Jamie turned pale. That wasn't there before. No one touched this bridge, Mara said. No one. Behind them, the sun dipped below the horizon. A deep guttural whinny echoed from the trees. And just like that, the forest swallowed the last of the light. They didn't know it yet, but the moment they crossed that bridge, they were already part of the legend. Sleepy Hollow had 5 new names. Part 2. The Watcher in the Fog. Night settled like a heavy blanket over Sleepy Hollow. The campfire flickered weakly, its orange glow swallowed by thick fog that crept between the trees, twisting branches into ghostly shapes. Mara checked the footage. The bloody handprint on the bridge appeared and disappeared, an unsettling mystery. But something else gnawed at them all. That shadowy figure Owen's drone caught, watching silently. We need to find out who or what that is, Liam said, voice low. Sasha shivered. No, we need to leave. But the path back had vanished. The bridge behind them was now just a dark blur swallowed by the mist. Owen's drone buzzed ahead, its lights cutting through the fog. It stopped abruptly near an ancient oak. Look at this, Jamie said, pointing to strange symbols carved deep into the bark, runes, tangled like roots. Sasha stepped forward, murmuring, protection wards, but corrupted ones. Before they could react, a sudden whinny echoed, deeper and closer than before. The earth trembled under hooves. Something was galloping in the dark, fast. Hide! Mara shouted as a black silhouette burst through the fog, a horse and rider. But the rider had no head. Instead, a flickering lantern hovered where his neck should be. The Headless Horseman. They scattered into the woods, branches slashing faces and arms. Mara's heart pounded as she sprinted blindly, the haunting clop-clop chasing her. She tripped near a rotten stump and glanced back. He was there, taller than any man, the lantern's flame a cold fire in the mist. But then the horseman stopped. His lantern swung low, revealing not a headless ghost, but a face beneath a broken mask, twisted, scarred, alive. Why do you run? A voice hissed, echoing from the shadows. We don't want trouble, Liam called, breath ragged. The figure stepped forward, pulling the hood down to reveal a woman's face, eyes black as coal, smile sharp as a blade. The forest belongs to the witch now, she said, and you've crossed her bridge. The fog thickened, swallowing the campers whole. Part 3. The Witch's Curse. Mara's breath hitched as the woman stepped closer, her eyes burning like embers in the night. I'm no legend, the woman whispered, voice dripping with venom. I am the Witch of Sleepy Hollow, and this forest is my domain. The campers circled each other, fear thick in the air. Why? Jamie asked, voice trembling. Why haunt this place? Why the horseman? The witch smiled, cruel and cold. Long ago, I was betrayed, burned alive by those who feared my power. My death cursed this land. The horseman is my sentinel, an extension of my wrath. Sasha, trembling, stepped forward. Can it be undone? The curse? The witch's eyes flickered. Perhaps, if you dare face the heart of the hollow. But none who enter my clearing leave unscarred. Liam swallowed hard. What happens if we stay? Her grin widened. You become part of the forest. Whispering voices, lost souls trapped between time and shadow. Suddenly, the forest seemed to breed, branches curling like claws, roots writhing beneath the soil. Owen tried to capture it all on camera, but the device fizzled, the screen crackling with static. Mara's voice cracked. We have to get out now. The witch laughed, a sound like cracking ice. You've stepped too far beyond the bridge, beyond the story you thought you knew. She raised her hand. The ground split open, revealing a pit of glowing embers and bones. Choose, she said. Face the curse, or become it. The campers hesitated, trapped between the witch's power and the abyss. And somewhere in the darkness, the Headless Horseman reared again, lantern casting eerie light. The forest waited. Part 4. Into the hollow. The pit's glow swallowed the firelight. One by one, the campers faced the witch's choice. Fear tangled their hearts, but the forest had already claimed their paths. Mara swallowed her terror and stepped forward. If this is the only way to survive, then lead us. The witch nodded, eyes gleaming. Follow the path of shadows, but beware, the hollow tests your soul. The fog parted to reveal a narrow trail, twisted roots clutching the ground like skeletal fingers. The group moved cautiously, every crunch of leaves beneath their feet sounding like a death knell. Liam whispered, do you feel that? It's like the forest is watching us. Sasha held Mara's arm tightly. I sensed something darker than the horseman, something ancient. The path led to a clearing bathed in unnatural moonlight. In its center stood a decayed altar, carved with faces frozen in agony. Suddenly, ghostly figures appeared, lost souls of Sleepy Hollow trapped between worlds, their hollow eyes pleading. Mara's breath caught. There, begging for release. The witch's voice echoed from the shadows. To break the curse, you must free them, but beware the price. Leela, the medium, stepped forward, chanting an old incantation Jamie had found in a forgotten journal. The spirits writhed, whispers rising to a fevered pitch. Then, the ground trembled violently. The Headless Horseman burst into the clearing, lantern blazing like a star in the dark. He charged toward them, hooves pounding the earth. Mara grabbed Liam's hand, pulling him behind a tree. We can't outrun him. The horseman's lantern swung wide, casting light that burned like fire. But just as he reached them, Sasha's voice rang out a piercing cry of defiance. A wave of energy pulsed from her, pushing the horseman back. He vanished into the mist with a terrible scream. The forest fell silent. The spirits around the altar began to fade, their faces peaceful for the first time in centuries. The witch stepped into the moonlight, her expression unreadable. Tonight, the curse weakens, she said, but the hollow is not finished with you. Part 5. The Last Crossing. The clearing was quiet now, the spirits at peace. Their anguished faces softened into calm. But the witch's words hung heavy in the air. The hollow is not finished with you. Mara felt a cold grip on her heart. The forest seemed to close in, the trees leaning like silent sentinels. Is it over? Liam asked, voice tight. No, Mara whispered. Not yet. The witch raised her hand. You have freed the lost, but the curse still holds power. To leave Sleepy Hollow alive, you must cross the bridge one last time. The group trudged back through twisted roots and mist, shadows darting just beyond sight. As they neared the covered bridge, an eerie glow emerged beneath the wooden planks, a ghostly river swirling with faces and hands reaching up, desperate to pull them in. Sasha stepped forward, chanting a final blessing, her voice steady. The witch's eyes followed, a sad smile playing on her lips. You carry the hollow's mark now. Its story will follow you. One by one, the five crossed the bridge. Mara's heart hammered as she felt icy fingers brush her skin. Then, silence. They reached the other side. The fog lifted, revealing the first rays of dawn. Behind them, the bridge creaked. For a moment, Mara swore she saw a figure standing in the shadows, headless, lantern in hand, watching. We survived, Owen breathed. But will we ever truly be free? Mara asked, eyes fixed on the forest's edge. Sleepy Hollow had let them leave, but the curse had left its mark. The witch's voice echoed on the wind. Some stories never end. Sleepy Hollow is a place where time bends and shadows whisper secrets you were never meant to hear. Some say the Headless Horseman rides still, searching for his lost head. Others say the witch waits, her eyes glowing in the dark woods, guarding her curse. But if you ever find yourself crossing the old covered bridge at dusk, listen carefully. You might hear the soft clop of hooves behind you, and realize you're already part of the legend.